we're ready to get started for our Costa Rica spotlight, our first spotlight of 2026. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for our speakers for being here. Thank you for everybody who's here in the room and for our people who are online. I'm going to introduce you to our 2026 Global Chair, Beth Beckert. She has an exciting year planned for you, and she's going to say a couple of words, and we'll get started.
Well, first, I also want to, besides myself, I want to acknowledge the fact that we have our RASM president, David Crawford, here. Thank you for coming, David. I know this is your favorite country, so we're just going to let that go. And thank you, everyone, for coming out to this beautiful country to seek more opportunities. I'd also like to invite our spotlight sponsor, which is Tracy tonight. Tracy. So Tracy is one of our global friends as far as sponsors, and I'll let her talk about what she does, but I wanted to introduce her. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Hi, everyone. Thanks. Happy to be here today. I'm Tracy Tonitis, Colonial Mortgage Corp. My husband, Ed, and I own Colonial Mortgage, and we've been in business here in this area since 1998. So we're really happy to be global business sponsor again this year. This is our second year in a row. And we are able to take care of all of your buyers that need financing, including all of your international buyers that are looking for home financing in the United States. However, we only do financing ourselves in the state of Florida. So if you have anyone anywhere in the state of Florida, we can help with that. We also have loan officers that work with us that speak multiple languages. So reach out if you have a buyer, and we can see if we can help them with their financing. We have a multitude of loan programs that we offer, not just for global investors, but even locally here in the United States. We're a mortgage broker business, which gives us unlimited wholesale lenders that we can work with to get your buyers approved. And our approval process is usually much more diverse. So we're able to approve people that would have been possibly denied at retail banks and lenders. So we're here to help make your business and more profitable by helping more buyers get into homes. So please give us a call. We'd love to work with you. I have a table over there with some flyers on our foreign national programs and our I-10 loan programs, which would help global and also people that live here that are needing financing that do not have Social Security numbers. So we have lots of programs. Please come and see me during one of the breaks.
Thank you, Tracy. Thank you. Thank you so much. So with that, I'm going to lead into, we have two lovely ladies that are going to be introducing our speakers. Elizabeth Ancelini, I have it, and Glo Reber. So I'm going to hand this to you so you can introduce speakers.
Hi, this is Elizabeth Ancelini. Hola. I'd like to introduce Rosy Pedraza Salazar. She's the president of the Costa Rica Chamber of Commerce, USA, with office in Miami, Florida, with more than 20 years of experience in project management, public relations, marketing, and international investment. She specializes in promoting real estate development and investment opportunities between Costa Rica and United States, advising clients on strategies, risk analysis, and market flexibility. Here is Rosy Pedraza.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm very honored to be with you this afternoon. Thank you for inviting me to Costa Rica Spotlight, my beautiful country. I say back hello since Costa Rica in this moment. Thank you so much for being here. Costa Rica Chamber of Commerce is the only Costa Rica Chamber of Commerce in USA. We are in a strategic link between individual companies and organizations in Costa Rica, the United States, and Latin America. We seek to promote the growth and prosperity of our partners, sponsors, and clients. We are committed to fostering a strong, collaborative relationship that promote success and well-being in the communities we serve. This is our vision, to be the main strategic partner of official agencies in Costa Rica and the United States, promoting trade through the creation of business meeting spaces, facilitating management tools, promoting Costa Rica culture and exchanges, the business and human fabric of both nations, as well as Latin America. Our values: excellence, respect, confidentiality, ethics, credibility, commitment, connection, win-win fair trade, and Costa Rica essence. Our organization is composed of the board of directors and the founder and the president. And we have the board of directors, 5 persons in the board of directors. And we come also with our advisory board. And we come also with delegation in Costa Rica who move, the trade here in Costa Rica. Also, we have alliances and guarantees. Celiem is one of them. Different chambers of commerce in Costa Rica, like a Federation of Chambers. 26 chambers of commerce are in the federation, and that federation, we are now with agreement with them. Different universities, ITC Miami-Dade County, Sister Cities International, Fort Lauderdale, the Miami-Dade Beacon Council, Miami-Dade, Broward County Economic Development, FEBICHAM, and Camacol. That's part of our alliances. And in the government sector, we have the Consulate General of Costa Rica in Miami, also the Consulate General Costa Rica in New York and New Jersey, and the other consulate in USA. The Costa Rica Trade Promoter is Procomer, and they are the second official agencies from Costa Rica and United States. Also, we have the United States Department of Commerce, Broward Economic Development, Broward Economic Miami-Dade, Broward Economic City of Doral, World Trade Center Miami, Port Everglades, Port Manatee, Port of Miami, and Miami Airport. They are one of the government sector. Also, we come with an immediate action program. This program is made for sector, especially for the sector and the trade. We have contributed to economic development by bringing an initiative that generates solutions and put into immediate action mechanisms of work and cooperation that boost the economic recovery of Costa Rica and South Florida. This is one of the programs we have in the chambers to support the sectors. And also we have the other project, Costa Rica 200 Year. Likewise, through the Costa Rica 200 Year project, we have contributed to economic development by bringing this initiative that generates solutions and put into immediate action mechanisms of work and cooperation that promotes economic recovery. This project work with the pymes in micro pymes here in Costa Rica and the United States too. This is another one of the projects. Also, we have our strategic plan, the 2024 to 2026 is this year is updating, and we are working with our strategic plan. And also, we facilitate collaboration that enhance the economic development and competitiveness of our companies. If you can see the company DII International, and there we we do investment, investment real estate in Costa Rica and Florida. And then this is part of we do. And also we join development, strengthening economics and business communities. You can see these several pictures we can put together to show you our communities, our joint development. And we are committed to business progress. In this chamber, we try to support the international commerce of Costa Rica, doing many events in Miami, even in several places of Florida. 5 years ago, we were in Manatee, and thank you, Elizabeth. I always remember that beautiful moment. And the chamber has been growing for these 5 years, doing many, developing many programs and many things who exchange the chamber and our members, support our members. And now I would like to give it a pass to introduce to architect Gabriel Salazar. He's part of our board of directors, and he has one of the best part in real estate, which is investment in Costa Rica and in Florida. And we have some important points for investment.
Yes. Let me just give you some brief description about Costa Rica, some facts. I don't know how much, I know a lot of people travel to Costa Rica for tourism, but Costa Rica has become an incredible place in Latin America. It's called the Switzerland of Latin America. I don't know if some of you might hear that. But let me give you some facts about Costa Rica. Why has it become that way? It's one of the oldest democracy in Latin America. Since 1948, they abolished the military. So they invest their monies and the taxes in educational programs. It's the most democratic government in all of Latin America. They follow the rule of law, and compared to all the other institutions. Also, it's known for an incredible environmental country with so many parks. Costa Rica has 6.5 of the world's biodiversity in the whole world, which is a lot for a small country that only has 4.5 million people. They're known for doing renewable energy. They have hydraulic, they have windmills, energy that's generated by windmills and so on. They have also they have Social Security for all the citizens, and they have the highest index of education in Latin America because they spend their tax dollars in education for all the citizens. It's also known for it's got an incredible medical tech manufacturing. There's a lot of manufacturing companies from all over the world, including in the United States, that have set up investments in Costa Rica and have plants, and they develop infrastructure over there for this. There's over 250 high-tech companies from the world. You're talking about Amazon, Coca-Cola. You're looking at medical companies, IBM. Imagine 250 tech companies from the world. 21% of Fortune 100 companies have established successful operations in Costa Rica, and they're still growing. Okay. Other reasons for investing in Costa Rica is because Costa Rica has one of the highest quality of life with lowest stress lifestyle. It's a very laid back type of country. Also, there's over 160,000 Americans that live in Costa Rica, and over 2 million visitors visit yearly in Costa Rica. And Costa Rica is one of the countries that has one of the most has several worldwide blue zones. Blue zones are categorized for the entire world, and because of the conservation. And it's also one of the safest and most secure jurisdiction for foreign investments in terms of the law. Costa Rica is considered a country with medium income, but also it's experienced and they have experienced in surprisingly economic growth over all the other Latin American countries in the last 25 years. The growth is incredible. They also have protections for foreigners. There's a lot of protections for foreigners that do real estate investment. Our business, DII International Investment, it's a real estate investment company where we promote development from the United States going to Costa Rica and develop sites over there, drive projects over there. Foreigners that own real estate investments in property they have the same legal rights as the citizens from Costa Rica. There are no restrictions on capital flowing in and out of the country for most investors without any tax. You can take your capital or investments over there. Under law, foreign investors who take up certain investor residency, you can get an investor visa. You have all the benefits to import household goods, vehicles, but you also get a lot of tax incentive exemptions. There's tax if you invest in Costa Rica for a period of 10 years, you don't have to pay taxes on the development you're developed. So also Costa Rica has incredible resorts. All the top resorts, hotel resorts are located in Costa Rica. This has happened in the last 25 years. You got the Four Seasons Resort in Costa Rica. You got Planet Hollywood. You got JW Marriott. You got Rio Palace in Costa Rica. You got another Marriott in Los Sueños. You got St. Regis. And Waldorf Astoria just opened up a new project over in Costa Rica, mainly on the Pacific side. But that's what's happening. There's a lot of development and resorts taking place. Also for real estate investments, I know people are buying up apartments over there and putting them up for Airbnb, and that way they have somewhere to travel to when they visit Costa Rica. So Costa Rica has an incredible opportunity for investment. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that opportunity to present the chamber and present the investment in Costa Rica. And I want to invite you to join our chamber to enjoy the benefit to be a member as Costa Rica Chamber of Commerce, USA. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Let's get.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Thank her.
¿Está bien?
It's already on.
Entendido.
It's on.
Hi. Do you have any question for the president of the Costa Rica Chamber?
Anita.
Tengo la pierna.
Okay, thanks, Dave.
My
I just had a question about the visa programs. If you could give us some more specifics on investment there, how much, and what kind of visa program you can get for you and your family.
Yeah, they have a program for you as an investor. You get a visa once you. I need to confirm the amount. How much is the amount that you have to invest in there? But once you submit and qualify for an investor, you have all the rights to stay there to, as long as you want. You can bring in your family members. You can also bring in household goods, your vehicles, if you're planning on retiring. There's an incredible amount of Americans that have retired in Costa Rica. So they've gone through this whole process. And any ownership, if you buy your apartment, your home, or your whatever, or condo, you have all the legal rights just like a typical citizen. So there are no concerns of entitlements and titles.
Thank you.
Another question?
Anybody else have questions?
We have a question.
Could you comment on the weather and the seasonality of people coming in, the tourist season, and how it impacts the economy, especially during the peak? I know it's tropical and it's hot and wet for the most part, but how does weather and seasonality play into your commerce?
Yeah.
Well, in terms of tourism, they have the rainy season just like we do here in Florida.
Yes.
It's typically the same time as we do from May to August. So that's the rainy season, but the rest of the year from September on through April, the weather is excellent weather, sunny weather. The beaches on the Pacific side are excellent. And so in terms of tourism and seasons, basically the best seasons to travel and for tourism is between April and August. I mean, I'm sorry, between
No, April.
September and April, I meant.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And September until October, something like this, is raining. It's raining here in Costa Rica. And then the best time is the high season because it's it's the summer here in Costa Rica, and that's the best time to come, right?
Yes, I have a question. Are most of your investors, in terms of tax advantages, are they from the United States, or are there other countries that participate quite a bit?
Yes, most of the investors and people buying homes, apartment homes and second homes in Costa Rica, most of them are from the United States, but you've got a lot of Canadians and Europeans that also. But most of the bulk or the biggest percentage is Americans living down there.
Okay.
Yes. Also Germany. Also Germany, Italy, so many countries, has been here in Costa Rica investing in Costa Rica. Yes.
I missed the part about the incentives, though. Incentives for somebody who wants to buy a property down there and retire. Is it difficult? Is it fairly easy to do? And are there any incentives from Costa Rica to encourage investment?
Yeah, in terms of being able to buy a home in Costa Rica, it's simple. Just like buying your home in the States, there is no entanglement. You do have to, when you purchase a home, you have to show proof of where the funds come from if you're bringing it in from the United States. And that occurs in most Latin American countries because of the trafficking that takes place. But it's simple, easy. With it, once you get your funding or if you ask for a loan, you close on the property and that's it. If you become an investor and you develop a project, though, they have a tax incentives where you don't pay taxes on that development, depending on how it works, for up to a period of 10 years. So that's an incentive for investors to invest, and they say that they don't have to pay taxes for that period.
Yes, and as a remark, I want to say the legal system in Costa Rica is very safe, and then to the investment is safe. Costa Rica is a safe country to invest, and this is the one of the best thing we can mention in this moment. Also, we work with controls account to be save the money, right? And then I think this is one of the best thing can do it in this matter.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Oh, yes. We can take.
I hear a lot about the Pacific side of Costa Rica, but I'm wondering, I'm interested in the Caribbean side. What's the major difference?
Let me tell you, the Caribbean side has probably prettier beaches than the Pacific side. Costa Rica for the last 30 years has been developing mainly on the Pacific side. They've been promoting that development, but there are fewer developments taking place on the Caribbean side, and there's a lot of opportunities in the Caribbean side to buy homes and to buy properties that might be on the ocean front for a lot less than on the Pacific side. So, but it does not have a lot of development.
But
up to this point.
the difference is that the Pacific side is more developed
More
than
developed.
more developed than the other side,
The Caribbean.
the Caribbean side. That's the difference. Yes.
Final question. Is it legal to have a monkey as a pet?
Oh, that- I don't know.
Okay. Thank you so much. And I believe we're finished with our questions for now, but thank you so much. That's wonderful information. We love the comparison to Switzerland as well. And we all know who've been there that Costa Rica is a wonderful place to be. So thank you for participating today.
Same to you guys to invite me. I'm very honored to be part of you. And I hope to see you soon. I hope to have a hug. And from here in Costa Rica, send the best to this country.
Okay, thank you. We hope to see you soon
Thank
as
you.
well. Okay,
you.
yes, thank you. Our next speaker is Joseph Manuele. He is the managing broker of Costa Homes Connect with over 15 years of successful real estate experience in and I'm not pronouncing it properly, Guanacaste, Costa Rica. Joseph helps guide buyers through the unique legal, financial, and transactional processes of purchasing property abroad. As a full-time legal resident of Costa Rica, licensed realtor with a capital R, with the Costa Rica Global Association of Realtors, NAR, international affiliate, and he's a holder of multiple global real estate designations. He's committed to ensuring every investment is secure, informed, and as seamless as possible. So welcome, Joseph.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the invitation to present today. I am Joseph Emanuele. I have been living here full-time in Costa Rica in Playa Hermosa area, which is the Papagayo region where the Four Seasons Resort is, right across the bay. My neighbor happens to be the Waldorf Astoria Resort that just opened up last year. We have very many high-end resorts in this area. I'm very close to the Liberia International Airport. The airport code is LIR. So you folks from Florida, literally from Miami, it's a 2.5-hour flight and you're on the ground, and 20 minutes later, you're at the beaches in the Pacific Northwest of Costa Rica in the Papagayo region. Now, Costa Rica has very much beautiful country to experiment and to travel through. Tourism is a very big thing here. As the previous presenter, Rosie, had said, there is over 2 million people that come to Costa Rica every year as a tourist. And a lot of times after the first trip, as a tourist, something keeps bringing them back, and then they come to me and to my associates. We're a two-office real estate company. We've been around since 2003. I have been with Tres Amigos since 2007, full-time. I am now the managing broker. I help train the new agents and help the broker owner manage the business. We talked about investment opportunities. So the previous folks from the Costa Rican Chamber of Commerce talk more about businesses. I talk more about real estate for the individual and the investment opportunities for that as well. They were correct in where they said that, foreigners have the same constitutional rights as Costa Ricans to own property in Costa Rica. Okay. And as far as getting your residency or visa, okay, you can invest over 150,000 US dollars in a property in Costa Rica, and then you can apply for your residency/visa. Okay. It takes about a year, and then after 4 years of temporary residency, you can receive permanent residency, which I have. Then after 7 years of permanent residency, if you want to become a citizen of Costa Rica, you can apply like I have. And I'm waiting for my true cedula to come, so I will be a Costa Rican as well. So our area that I am in, investment is a very good option for those that are looking for a vacation home that they can utilize when they come to Costa Rica, or if they want to rent it out to gain some income. Okay, we have properties anywhere from $100,000 studio apartments, walk to the beach, to 225,000 two-bed, two-bath condos, to ocean view condos starting around $500,000, some of them around $350,000. Then we can get into the higher luxury homes, as in like the Waldorf Astoria. They have private residences that start at $8 million. Okay. You can go out to the Four Seasons, potentially buy a lot and build a home out there. It's going to run probably around $4 to $8 million. However, there are homes right here across the bay from the Four Seasons that are in the 1.6 million range with great ocean views. And of course, the price goes up, and they're in guarded, gated communities. So our area is very close to Liberia International Airport. As I mentioned before, it's only 20 minutes away by car, depending on traffic, of course. It's a very busy airport. It was rebuilt about 9 years ago. We have international flights coming in as well from Europe. We do have a good mix of North American clients plus European clients. We have quite a few folks from the US, Canada, Germans, Italians, Greeks, Israelis. We have folks coming from all parts of the world, basically. Now, we don't see a lot of folks coming from Australia or New Zealand or the Middle East due to the flight times to get here. It's quite challenging. But coming from Europe, it's a direct flight. Coming from the US and Canada, there are many direct flights available, either into the Liberia International Airport or the San Juan International Airport in San Jose, okay, the capital of our country. Our country does have some of the most beautiful land and sights to see, from monkeys to sloths to jaguars. Our infrastructure is phenomenal, and we have unbelievable amount of biodiversity in this country. And as I said, I've been here for over 18 years now. I love living here. This is my home. I don't know if I'll ever return back to the United States to live full time. But however, our real estate works very much similar to the US. I had my license in Arkansas, got my license, jumped on a plane, and came to Costa Rica to start my business here. I never practiced in the US, and I never renewed my license there. I am a past board of director member of the Costa Rican Global Association. Years ago, I was on the board of directors, and I'm still an active member and a NAR international affiliate. I may have met some of you at the NAR convention in Houston just this past year, because I was there with my partner, Mike Simons. We set up a booth for Costa Rica, and I think that's how we all got connected for this seminar. So our transactions are basically the same as they are in the US. Offers are written in English 90% of the time. An offer is presented. There's negotiations back and forth. Once it's under contract, then there's the need for a legal team here in Costa Rica to be able to do the actual transfer of assets to the new buyer. New buyer has, as I've mentioned earlier, constitutional rights in Costa Rica to own real estate. Some parts of Costa Rica you cannot own. Okay, you need to have permanent residency in Costa Rica for 5 years to be able to actually be on the beachfront. There are beachfront properties that are titled, but about 94% of all the beachfront in Costa Rica is concession land, which means that the local municipality is actually the owner of the land, and you have a land lease for anywhere from 20 to 50 years. If you're doing a big project in a hotel, you'll get a 50-year to 100-year concession. If it's for an individual home, it's usually 20 years, and then every 20 years that needs to just be renewed. So just to give everybody a little bit of an idea, our property taxes are very, very low here in Costa Rica. Throughout the entire country, outside of the concession zone, your property taxes are 0.25% of your appraised value. So basically, that's $250 for every $100,000 of assessed value. That's relatively very inexpensive. Okay. I don't know what more to talk about. I could certainly give everybody a one-on-one conversation. Our current market conditions, we are now looking at, we're in a conversion. We're not a buyer's market. We're not quite yet a seller's market. We're seeing prices starting to come down a bit from the post-COVID boom that happened when there was almost a for free sign thrown up on every property. Everybody from around the world was buying property in Costa Rica and moving forward because of either political reasons or whatever their purpose was. But we're seeing it starting to slow down just a little bit, but it will pick up. It's cyclical, just like it is in Florida, just like it is in Texas and every country. What else? Referrals. We here at Tres Amigos work with every agent. That's why we come to NAR convention. We've been to quite a few of them. We've been to various international conventions. We work with everybody. We work locally as well. Even though we're one of the largest independent franchises in this area with 14 agents and 2 offices, we work very well with all the other agencies. We collaborate. We have WhatsApp chat groups with over 400 agents on them that if somebody's looking for something to satisfy their client, another agent will say, hey, I've got that listing. Here's a flyer for you to pass on to your client. Internationally, we also do referrals. We work with a lot of people. I've paid many, many referrals to agents through the US and Canada that have been here, love Costa Rica, or their client who happens to be in your sphere of influence, right? They're your client. You've been working with them and they say, hey, I'm going to Costa Rica. Do you happen to know somebody down there that I can talk to? Well, sure enough, boom. That's how the referral process happens. And, we pay a 25% referral fee for, the buy side or the sell side, whichever it is, right? So I can't talk highly enough about my area. We have great infrastructure, paved roads, Wi-Fi, internet, services galore. If you like shopping like a Costco or Sam's Club, we have Price Smart nearby. Coca-Cola did open up about 4 years ago, close to our airport. It's one of their largest soda producing plants where they produce syrup and they ship it out throughout all of Central America and parts of North America as well. So there is a big growth area here of a lot of expats and also Costa Ricans as well. We don't want to push out the local folks for sure. That's why this country is so beautiful, because of the warm and friendly folks that originally are from Costa Rica and have welcomed us to come here. So I'd be happy to answer any questions anybody has. If I don't have the answer, I'll be more than happy to tell you I don't have that answer. And you can always send me an email and I'll be happy to communicate with you.
Thank you so much. Oh my goodness, there's nothing negative about what you've said. It's just you're the best cheerleader we could possibly hear for living or moving to Costa Rica. Before David has a question over there, I wanted to find out how about the medical situation for people coming over there for expats?
Okay. I can talk firsthand about that. I had a heart attack 12 years ago. I'm 65 years old. I knew the signs. I was smart enough. I felt the pressure on my chest and up to my shoulder, and I immediately went to the hospital. They stabilized me. They airlifted me to San Jose to their main hospital down there. And 5 o'clock the next morning, I was on the operating table, and they did basically angioplasty, put stents in my heart, and here I am, 12 years later. And granted, the reality of life is my private insurance covered that. Here in Costa Rica, unfortunately, there is, pre-existing conditions for private health care. So now cardiovascular is not covered for me. However, as a full permanent resident or even a temporary resident, part of the requirement is you have to join the Costa Rican Social Security system called CAHA. And I pay a minimal amount every month, which gives me free universal health care in the country. So in the event I feel like I'm having another heart attack again, I'll have somebody drive me to the public hospital and I'll be taken care of pronto. Actually, my partner's father needed his pacemaker changed out. Okay, he waited a little bit for it. It wasn't an emergency, but they transported him to San Jose yesterday. They did the quick surgery, transported him back last night, kept him in the hospital here for overnight, and they're letting him out today. So I can talk pretty well about how good the healthcare in Costa Rica is, private and public.
All righty, thank you. David Crawford.
Hey, Joe, thank you so much again. I know you mentioned some insights on residency and visas, and I know after COVID, there was some incentives for residency in terms of being able to get a container of furniture without taxes, one or two vehicles, airplane, boat, or automobile without the VAT tax. Are those all still in place?
Yes, they are. That is actually once you apply for your temporary residency as an investor. If you can prove that you have invested over 150,000 US dollars, and actually it's in the colon, the local currency. So it has to be the equivalent. So it may be a little bit more than 150, like 153. It may be a little bit less, like 148. It all depends upon the exchange rate of the colon to the US dollar. But once you do that and you are granted your temporary residency, then you are allowed to bring in the container. And as you said, a car, a boat, you can bring two vehicles duty free. Your personal items are brought in duty free. Okay, so there is that advantage. If you happen to purchase a electric vehicle, you also get a tax break on that for the first 5 years. And you do have to keep the car for 5 years before, otherwise you're paying the taxes. Now,
Hi,
one
Joseph.
thing I am going to say real quick is that to come to Costa Rica, you do not need a visa. Okay, your U.S. passport, and I'm speaking to everybody in South Florida, but Canadians, a lot of European countries, your passport is good for 6 months. That is your visa. So you can come and fly in with a current passport. You make sure that is not within 6 months of it expiring, and then you can just come in and stay for 6 months, and your foreign driver's license is good for that period of time.
Hi, Joseph. I had two questions. One was
Okay.
for people who maybe have dogs or cats that want to come there, is there a quarantine? How is that process? And then are you able to speak at all about your private insurance options, like what companies, things like that?
Okay, sure. So when I moved here back in 2007, I brought a 110-pound black lab with me and a border collie coyote mix that I adopted off the streets in Kentucky. Okay, and my dogs were not quarantined. You do have to make sure that when you're flying with your pets, that you get a international health certificate signed off by your veterinarian that takes care of your animals, and then it has to go to the state board of veterinary in that state that they certify that he is a licensed vet. Carry that paperwork with you, and then once you arrive in Costa Rica, there will be somebody from the Ministry of Agriculture there to receive the paperwork to make sure that everything is up and going. So there is no quarantine period for your animals, but they do have to be up to date on all their international vaccines. As far as healthcare insurance, I work with a broker. Like myself, he has various different companies. There's Blue Shield, there's Blue Shield, Blue Cross here. There is Aetna is in this country. I personally have insurance with INS, which is the National Institute of Insurance of Costa Rica. There's BMI, which is Best Meridian Insurance. They're actually based out of Florida, but this is their international division. MAFRE out of Spain, Asasa out of Colombia. So we have quite a few different companies that you can get individual private health care.
Yes.
Oh,
We have time for one more.
okay.
Hi, Joseph. My name is Kimberly. About 2 years ago, I had folks that were moving out of Costa Rica to this area because of crime, violent crime, they said, being on the rise, and they had a 4-year-old daughter. And can you tell me any more about that? They said if you didn't live in the coastal areas, it wasn't safe.
Well, is there crime? There's crime everywhere in the world. Are there pockets where you don't necessarily want to put yourself in? Yes, that happens here in Costa Rica. Rosie can attest, the Central Valley is the main part of Costa Rica. We have roughly around 5.8 million people in the country. We're waiting on the new census. And a majority live in the Central Valley, which is quite large, to be honest. It sounds small when you say Central Valley, but it's a quite big area. So can there be crime there? Yes. Your clients that moved back to the US or moved from Costa Rica, it depends upon where they live. I've been here over 18 years. I've lived in 4 different areas within the Papagayo area. I have never had an issue with crime affecting me personally, someone breaking into my house. Does crime happen? Yes, it does. It's just like any country in the world, you got to be a little bit smart. Now, granted, if you have younger children, maybe you don't want to be in a larger city and you would rather be someplace maybe a little bit more rural, where people tend to be a little bit more friendly, a little bit more outgoing, looking out for each other, versus in a congested city. It all depends upon each person's personal desires and where they want to be. I really can't say where this person lived and how bad that area may be. Do we have pockets like that? My folks used to live in Boca Raton, Florida. Okay, they also lived in Vero Beach, Florida. My brother lived in Tampa. There's parts of Tampa I wouldn't step into with a 22 wrapped on my side. But that's life, right? I mean, it happens. I'm being honest here, right? I mean, I'm not blowing smoke up anybody's, you know what.
Okay, thank you so much. Now we know about that. We have a little bit of that ourselves.
Right.
Thank you so much, Joseph. Appreciate
You're
it.
very
And thank you
welcome.
for staying around for other questions when we complete. So that's a wonderful speech and we appreciate that. Now, the next one we're going to introduce is Zach. And Zach is I believe, from Advisor Second Street Mortgage. So welcome, Zach. I have no information on you, so you're on. Thank you.
Hi, thank you so much. Hopefully everybody can hear me okay. I'm Zach. I'm the founder and CEO of Second Street, and we are Costa Rica's leading international mortgage lender. So I've got a brief presentation for you guys today that touches on a bit of information about Costa Rica, including a bit of quantitative information, so you guys can get a sort of better sense for what the real estate market looks like down there. And then we'll also touch a little bit on what mortgage lending looks like in Costa Rica. I think historically, people have associated international real estate markets as all cash real estate markets. And generally, that's been true. Second Street is really one of the only companies in the world that offers US style mortgage financing outside of the United States. And Costa Rica is actually our first market. So now, not only is Costa Rica a really attractive destination, I think, for you and your clients, but it's also one of the only destinations in the world where your clients could actually get financing to purchase property there, which I think creates a really unique value proposition for the country. So in just a moment, I'm going to share my screen and I'll take you guys through this presentation. All right, so hopefully you guys can see this. Move the control bar a bit. Okay, so Costa Rica, new opportunities in real estate and lending. So, like I mentioned, Second Street is Costa Rica's leading international mortgage lender, and we help Americans confidently finance their dream home in Costa Rica. At the core of what we do is a very familiar US style mortgage loan. We offer the same 30-year fixed rate type product that you would find in the States, except it's held against the property that's actually in Costa Rica that your client is buying or even refinancing. Everything that we do is compliant with both US and Costa Rican lending regulation. Second Street is also a partner to an exclusive sponsor of the local NAR affiliate in Costa Rica, the Costa Rican Global Association of Realtors. And Second Street is actually backed by a publicly listed mortgage lender here in the United States. So we are part of a public company, and we are sort of the first true institutional capital to come into the lending space in Central America. A bit about myself. Like I said before, I'm Zach, the founder and CEO of Second Street. Before starting the company in 2023, I had spent my career as an investor at one of the largest and oldest hedge funds in the world, Elliott Management, which actually a couple of years ago moved their headquarters to South Florida. At Elliott, I was part of a team of about 150 people managing a $70 billion fund across both public and private investments. And I left that role in 2023 to start building Second Street because I had seen personally that it was impossible to get financing to buy international property. And this is true for your clients too. You have clients who might qualify for hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars in loans based on their credit and income. But if they want to go buy internationally, they really don't have access to any credit at all. They've been forced to buy those properties abroad in cash. I saw that was a huge problem, and I realized it was mostly a capital markets problem. You just needed the right investor to bring the right type and scale of money into this space to make this work. And so that's what I did. And so we've been lending in Costa Rica for over a year now. We've closed on dozens of transactions and tens of millions of dollars in loans just in the past 12 months. And today we're already doing 2 to 3 times the monthly volume that we were doing even 12 months ago. So it's been really exciting for us, and we're really excited to be here and share a little bit more with you guys today about Costa Rica and what we do. So to just kind of lay out what we'll talk about, first we'll talk a bit about Costa Rica. We'll talk about, how mortgage financing is actually changing the real estate market in Costa Rica, because this is really a brand new thing down there. And then we'll chat a bit about the process for your clients to get a mortgage, what our loans look like, etc. So to do a quick introduction, I think the other speakers did a great job of introducing Costa Rica, but there's a few things I'd love to touch on that I think you'll find relevant to you and your clients. Costa Rica as an investment destination really benefits from a few fantastic factors. So first, Costa Rica has a really benign history and is really stable from a geopolitical standpoint. The country initially won its independence from Spain in 1821, has been a sovereign country since 1838, and has really been a peaceful, stable democratic country since they had, their first real set of elections in 1899. And for the past 75 years, since the current constitution has been in place, Costa Rica has not had a military, it has no conflicts with its neighbors, and it's really one of the safest and most stable countries in Latin America. There's a reason why a former speaker called it the Switzerland of Central America. The environment is incredibly friendly. Costa Rica has a really attractive tropical climate. By the beaches, it's, quite similar to South Florida. And up in the mountains, you actually have this really wonderful cooling effect and a very temperate climate. So you can kind of get the, heat by the beach and the ocean, and you can also get kind of the cooler, more temperate weather up in the mountains. Unlike Florida, Costa Rica is actually incredibly well insulated from natural disaster. There have only been 7 recorded major natural disasters in Costa Rica since 1980. And for the Florida people, Costa Rica does not really get hurricanes. So, when you're thinking about things like property insurance down in Costa Rica, it's a fraction of what you would pay in a place like Florida. And it's actually even substantially less than the average cost of property insurance in the United States on average. The economy in Costa Rica is incredibly healthy. It's considered an upper middle income country. Real GDP per capita is about $27,000 per person, obviously less than the United States, but frankly, pretty close to some of the, less wealthy European countries like a Portugal, which actually isn't that much more wealthy than Costa Rica. And when you look at the government, it's been incredibly consistent. Costa Rica is frankly a vibrant democracy. Like I said, no military since 1949, no major international disputes, and has a very close diplomatic relationship with the United States. Marco Rubio was actually in Costa Rica last year, had a great meeting with the government, and there's always been a very strong history of partnership between Costa Rica and the United States. And Costa Rica really has something for everybody. Costa Rica, if you like beaches, mountains, or sunsets, there's a really good chance you're going to really like Costa Rica. And not only has Costa Rica been popular, it's also been growing in its popularity. And really, the destination highlights are what attract people. There's over 800 miles of tropical coastline and several mountain ranges in Costa Rica. You have over 100 wildlife refuges, national parks, and biological reserves. And Costa Rica is really well known for kind of its famous relaxed pura vida lifestyle. It's also got a very friendly and welcoming culture. Costa Rica is very open to foreigners. And it's from Florida, it's like a 2.5, 3-hour flight down to Costa Rica. And the country has very strong rule of law, a reliable legal system, and typically low levels of crime. And when you look at visitorship to Costa Rica, it has increased dramatically over the years. If you look back to the late 2000s, you had about 700,000 US visitors a year coming to Costa Rica. To 2019, you had 1.3 million, so that number almost doubled. You recovered very quickly from COVID. In 2022, you were already back at the highs from 2019. And I don't have this on here now, but in 2024 or 2025, visitorship was actually up to 1.6 million visitors from the United States. So about 20% above the high in 2019. So you've only seen Costa Rica continue to be a more and more popular destination for Americans. And for you guys, what's super interesting is not only is Costa Rica a place great to visit, it's a great place to do business in the real estate market because it has a very active foreign homebuyer market. So there is no centralized MLS in Costa Rica the way that you have in the United States. And so it can be really hard to find data on the market in Costa Rica. But at Second Street, we actually did proprietary research and we're able to find that there's about $6 billion a year in residential property that transacts in the foreign buyer market in Costa Rica. And that's not including raw land. It's not including commercial properties. This is just sales of existing residential properties. And if you look at the breakdown of the market, Costa Rica is really by and large a luxury market. If you look at the market by value, 46% of the $6 billion in property that was sold were properties valued at over $1 million. And only 54% of the market was properties under $1 million. And the trends towards the growing real estate market in Costa Rica have been driven by a number of things. You have a huge wave of boomers in the United States retiring, many of them coming down to Costa Rica. The State Department tells us that over 120,000 Americans live full-time in Costa Rica. You have post-COVID behavioral shifts where people are now more able to work from home, and you have more people spending time and actually working in the US, but from Costa Rica. And you have a huge increase in visitors, from 700,000 in 2009 to 1.6 million last year. That's driving a lot of interest in the real estate market in this country. And when you look at the breakdown of the market, the average home that's being sold to foreigners in Costa Rica is probably around $625,000. And the median is around 380,000. This generally actually skews a bit high versus the average in the United States. And what this means is Costa Rica is not a discount market. This is very much a luxury market, but it's a luxury market where you get fantastic value. So, while the average home that you're looking at is over $600,000, what you get for that $600,000 is very different than what you would find in a place like Florida. The $600,000 home that you buy in Costa Rica is probably what you would get for like a $1.8 million home in a place like Florida or another tropical location in the United States. And so why is mortgage financing really important in Costa Rica? The reality is it's something that has never been available in Costa Rica, but, as you guys, as American realtors know, all your clients want. In the US, 80% of all home purchases involve a mortgage. And even when you're looking at the second home market, a majority of second home buyers in the United States still use financing to purchase property. And so when you're looking at Costa Rica, it's really no different. The market has only been an all cash market because historically that was the only option. But now that Second Street is offering 30-year fixed mortgages in the country backed by a publicly listed US mortgage lender, that's really changing dramatically. And the reason your clients want to use a mortgage in Costa Rica is the same as why they would want to use it in the US. Mortgage makes buying property more affordable. It means that your clients with cash can actually now afford more. Your $300,000 cash buyer can easily become $1 million mortgage buyer. And, I think this is really important for you guys. All of the tax benefits of buying property with a mortgage are the same in Costa Rica as they are in the United States. So obviously, using a mortgage, using someone else's money to buy property helps your clients avoid capital gains taxes. Nobody wants to have to sell stock or real estate and pay capital gains tax in order to be able to go buy a home somewhere else in cash. And of course, your clients like getting the mortgage interest tax deduction. And all of the rules around the mortgage interest tax deduction in the United States also apply to a mortgage in Costa Rica with Second Street. So all of the same tax benefits that your clients are used to getting at home in the US, they are still eligible for when they're buying property down in Costa Rica with us. And there's actually some local taxes that Second Street can help your clients save on. Costa Rica, instead of having high annual property taxes, they have very low annual taxes, but they have a high transfer tax when you purchase property. It ends up being about 2.5% of the total purchase value of the property. But when you get a loan through Second Street, the structure that we use to lend in Costa Rica actually effectively circumvents or defers these transfer taxes. So, a client buying $1 million home would actually be saving $25,000 on closing costs by getting a mortgage. And so how is financing starting to impact the real estate market in Costa Rica? It's a funny question. To frame it out, I would almost ask you guys to think, what would happen to your real estate market in Florida if tomorrow I told you that none of your clients could ever get a mortgage again? Obviously, it would be a complete disaster. The exact opposite is now what's happened in Costa Rica. For the first time, mortgage financing is now actually becoming available. And so as a result of that, you're seeing a generational market growth opportunity in the country that is really there for you guys to take advantage of. In the past, because Costa Rica was an all cash market, you had a very small buyer base of people who are the ones who can afford to pay all cash. You had cash buyers who had limited budgets because they could only spend what they had in their bank accounts. And you had a fairly long sales cycle. Properties might sit on market for a year or more because the pool of buyers available to buy property was fairly small. But now that financing has come into the market, you have a significantly larger pool of potential buyers. You have buyers who can afford to pay higher prices. And the bigger pool of buyers means that sales now move more quickly. So the market is really starting to see a shift now. And it's a fantastic opportunity for you guys to take advantage of. And so, what does a mortgage with Second Street look like, and what's the process to get one? I think what's great about getting a mortgage with Second Street is even though you are getting a mortgage loan in a foreign country, it is the same exact kind of mortgage loan that your clients are used to getting in the US. It is a classic 30-year fixed rate mortgage, no prepayment penalties. 100% of the loans are in United States dollars. You are not borrowing in a foreign currency. We follow Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac guidelines for all of our mortgage underwriting. So the standards that your clients are held to are the exact same ones that you would find in the US. And frankly, to be transparent, there's no hidden fees, there's no surprises, there's no BS. Second Street's mortgage product is really exactly what it looks like, which is a classic 30-year fixed. And your clients can feel very good about doing business with a company like Second Street because we are backed by a publicly listed company on Wall Street, a mortgage lender called Adamas Trust that has a $12 billion balance sheet. And Adamas Trust is not just a capital provider to us. We're not really a broker. We are a direct lender. But Adamas Trust is actually a part owner in our company. So that, I am the founder and CEO. I still own a majority of the business, but Adamas is our largest outside investor. They own a big chunk of Second Street, and they also open their $12 billion balance sheet to us so that we can fund and approve US style mortgage loans in Costa Rica. And this is really important because you've seen a lot of companies try to offer a mortgage product in Costa Rica in the past, but it's almost always come around to hurt agents and their clients because you've had companies that don't have the kind of sustainable capital supply that we have. Second Street is really the first and only institutionally backed company lending in Costa Rica. And so that, you could sleep at night if your client is getting approved with Second Street, we're showing up to closing with cash, which, to be honest, has not always been the case with mortgage lenders in Costa Rica. And so who's eligible for a loan with Second Street? Really straightforward. It's US citizens and US permanent residents. And the qualifying standards are generally the same as what you would see in the US. I would say our credit score threshold tends to be a little bit higher because we're looking for good quality borrowers. But any type of employment is okay, retired, self-employed, etc. That's all fine. We'll lend up to a 75% loan to value or 25% down. And the minimum loan amount that we offer is $150,000. And your clients can use the funds to buy a new home. They can refinance an existing loan if they got maybe a private or hard money loan in Costa Rica. And we actually also even offer cash out refinancing. So if you have clients who bought property in Costa Rica years ago, maybe want to make an additional investment or want to renovate their home, we could actually give them a cash out refinance. And if a client gets a loan with us and interest rates go down in the future and your clients want to refi, we can do that for them as well. And we'll lend on a primary residence if your client wants to move down there. We'll lend on a second home or vacation property, and we can even lend on an investment property like a short-term rental. And the loan process in Costa Rica is really by and large the same as it is in the United States. You guys are already very familiar with how this works. Second Street does a fully underwritten and fully verified pre-approval. We do this for every single one of our loans. There is absolutely zero cost to your client to submit an application with us and get pre-approved. So usually pre-approval with us takes maybe a day or so from when your client has submitted all of their documentation to us. Once your client has a pre-approval letter, you know the drill. You're going to go shop. You're going to go find a home with your client. Once you have a property under contract, we'll do our due diligence and the appraisal, just like you'd see in the US. And once that stuff is done, we'll send it to closing. Pretty much all of our processes from day one to closing take 45 days or less. And it's really mostly a function of how quickly the seller can move. You know, when a seller is kind of doing their part, letting the appraiser come by and giving us the due diligence materials we need, you know, we could be getting loans done in as little as 25 days. And, you know, I'm really proud to say that Second Street has really delivered for our clients. You know, if you go ahead and take a look at our website, mysecondstreet.com, you'll see on our homepage, we've got a bunch of reviews from both clients and real estate agents who just say really great things about working with us. You know, we're really proud to have delivered something new and unique to Costa Rica that clients really can't get anywhere else. And our clients have been really appreciative of that and the service that we've been able to deliver them. Because we have an incredibly experienced team at Second Street of, you know, mortgage professionals, all of whom have at least 10 to 20 years of experience in the U.S. mortgage industry. And goes without saying, but our entire team is based in the United States. And these are also just some of the reviews that we get from our real estate partners in Costa Rica. So all of these real estate agents that you see on the screen here are people who have done actually multiple transactions with Second Street just in the past 12 months. And their experiences have been really positive, which is something that we're really proud of. We love being a good partner to the real estate agents that we work with. And so that's the end of the presentation, and I invite you guys to connect with us. Here is a QR code that will take you guys to our website. For any clients that you have who are interested in pre-qualifying or getting pre-approved for a mortgage with us, we've got a big pre-qualify today button on our website that your clients can check out. And this is also the contact information for Raj Ponya, who is one of our two senior loan officers, who is happy to get on the phone with you or one of your clients to chat through our loan options, what might be available to your client, and to help get them started on an application if that's interesting to them, or if it's interesting to one of you guys. So with that, I'll pause there, and I'm happy to take any additional questions either about Costa Rica, mortgage lending, anything that I can be helpful to you guys with.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I know we have a couple of questions here. Thank you. I have a quick question. Is there a particular area where the expats tend to congregate, or is it just anywhere?
Yeah, so there are definitely areas in the country where you will see more expats than others. You know, it goes without saying, the coastlines, of course, are where you tend to see the highest concentrations of expats. If you know, I'll actually just quickly share the presentation again so you can see the little map of Costa Rica, and I'll point out a few areas. So if we go here and rewind a bit. There we go. Okay, so this is a map of Costa Rica. Where I'm circling with my mouse right here, this province is Guanacaste. The northern part of Guanacaste, I'd say like this area right here, includes the Papagayo Peninsula, which is close to where Joe lives, and popular beach towns like Coco, Flamingo, and Tamarindo. This is probably the, you know, epicenter of where expats congregate in Costa Rica, but you have a number of different hotspots around the country. You know, over here you have a couple towns called Nosara and Samara that are very popular and known as really high-end destinations. You know, in these areas, you'll have some very wealthy people from California, New York, Florida, who purchase multi-million-dollar properties. You've got a very popular beach town down here called Santa Teresa. Again, you know, you're seeing very high-end people from tech, finance, law, purchasing properties there. Further down this area here, like the interior of this bay, you don't see a whole lot of foreign buyers. This area is relatively undeveloped. But you go down the coast towards the Central Pacific around here. It's a very popular beach town called Jaco. Tends to be a more affordable destination. You have a lot of beachfront condos there that range anywhere kind of more in the $200,000 to $500,000 range or $600,000 range. And you also have some very well-known marinas and communities down there with more expensive homes. And a bit further south, you have towns called Dominical and Ovida that have also become really popular surf towns. On the Caribbean coast, that area is much earlier on in its development versus the Pacific side. But you've got a town down here called Puerto Viejo and the surrounding area that is very popular with expats. And I'll also say San Jose, the capital, has seen a lot more interest from expats over the past few years than you might have expected previously. You've even seen a lot of Americans who own one home by the beach purchase a second home in the city to be able to access some of the amenities that San Jose has to offer for them and their families. So I'd say those are really some of the hot spots, but honestly, you will find expats all over the country in Costa Rica.
Okay, thank you so much. And questions?
Thank you, Zach. I'm curious how you skin the transfer taxes. Do you use a vehicle similar to, say, a fideicomiso like they use in Mexico?
Yeah, well, that's a really educated question. So you hit the nail on the head. In Costa Rica, also uses a fideicomiso for lending. That's exactly the structure that we use in Costa Rica. And for those in the audience who are not familiar with what a fideicomiso is, it's essentially it translates to bank trust or guarantee trust. It's very similar to a deed of trust in the United States. So in Florida, they use a mortgage lien for mortgage loans, but in about half of states in the United States, like Texas, for example, they use what's called a deed of trust. And it's the same exact thing as a fideicomiso. A third-party trust is set up to hold title to the property throughout the life of a mortgage loan. Once the client pays off the loan, title is released from trust and put back into the client's name. If a borrower does not pay off a loan, the trustee puts the property up for auction to pay off the loan, and any remaining proceeds go to the borrower. And so in Costa Rica, the reason why our clients don't have to pay the transfer tax is because transfers of a property from, a seller directly into a trust are not actually subject to transfer taxes and stamps. And that's true for us. It's also true for local banks who do business in Costa Rica. It's not like a funny or innovative thing. It's actually just a standard part of how the real estate business and lending business works in Costa Rica.
Any other questions?
I have a few questions. Are the loans denominated in the local currency or USD? And how do the currency fluctuations impact recovery? Another question is with respect to liquidity and collateral security, because it seems to be clearly, it has to go through the chain of the trust and things like that. How's the risk portfolio of your lending versus Florida? Any property in Florida where it's probably more liquid, it's easier and faster.
Yeah. No, it's a great question. So
Oh, I'm sorry. I may have to repeat the question, or maybe you should because they can't hear me.
So you were asking about how recoveries and performance looks like in the portfolio and also the impact of currency. So all of the loans that we offer are denominated in US dollars. And part of why that works really well is in Costa Rica, property is also typically purchased in US dollars. You do not really see anyone selling property in local currency. The dollar is actually really sort of a shadow currency in Costa Rica. Excuse me. It's primarily used for really any major transaction in Costa Rica. You'll see the dollar typically being used. So we only lend in US dollars. Fluctuations in value between the US dollar and the Costa Rican colon will have no impact to your clients who buy property or who are getting a loan with Second Street. In terms of the performance of our lending portfolio, I can share it's been fantastic. I mean, to be totally transparent, it's spotless. We've never had even a single missed payment amongst our borrowers. We lend to people who pay their loans on time, and they've all done a fantastic job of doing that. So there really haven't been any issues there. And in terms of, recovering on a property in the event that there is a default, the process works much the same way as you'd see in the US. The property will get put up for an auction. Typically, the lender will take over the property and then retain a broker to put it up for sale. And you are right, the property market in Costa Rica does on average tend to be less liquid than what you would see in a place like Florida. But properties at the right price will still transact in a fairly reasonable amount of time.
Okay, thank you. We have one more question.
I have a question regarding what you just mentioned, that the loan is actually in US dollars.
Yep, 100%.
So my client is basically will have some type of risk, at least from a sovereign currency default point of view. So let's say the local economy goes really bad, they can't pay their sovereign debt, their currency gets devalued, And when I go to sell my property, I might not have enough of the local currency to pay the dollar denominated loan. Is that correct?
So in Costa Rica, that would generally not be correct. You're thinking along the right lines, and that would be true in a lot of countries, but it is not really true in Costa Rica. And the reason for that is the properties themselves in Costa Rica are typically valued in US dollars because most of the demand for property in Costa Rica is coming from people who have dollar denominated income. Put it this way, if let's say Costa Rica defaulted on its national debt tomorrow, which is not really in any danger of doing, but just as a hypothetical, say it did. You're asking this to the former hedge fund guy, so I've got a real answer for you. Let's say that happened tomorrow, and let's say the Colón crashed 90%. If what you were saying is right, and the value of property in Costa Rica to an American fell by 90%, you would have a horde of vacationers showing up to Costa Rica ready to buy property at a 90% discount, and that would drive the price right back up. So at the end of the day, the reason that property in Costa Rica is fundamentally priced in dollars as opposed to local currency is because the demand for the property is coming from USD buyers. It's mostly coming from Americans. And so a devaluation of the local currency wouldn't really have much of an impact at all.
I would like to just say that there is a risk of, so if you do have a local default, you do have a risk of capital controls in the banking system there. So let's say I wanted to sell my property in Costa Rica and I have a US buyer. Can I transact that can I operate that transaction outside of the local municipality there and transfer the money from buyer to seller from a US bank?
Yes, you absolutely can. Yeah. So actually the way that happens, I'd say in a pretty high percentage of our transactions, we will work with an escrow provider that has a bank account in the United States, and our US client wires their deposit and we wire our lender funds into the same US escrow account. And if the seller is in the United States, those funds just get sent out to a local US bank account. So yeah, the transactions oftentimes take place entirely outside of Costa Rica.
Okay, thank you, Zach. That was absolutely wonderful, well-informing, and a wonderful presentation, and everybody snapping your card. So thank you so much.
Great.
Appreciate it.
And I can also send to you guys, I don't know who the right person is, but I can send you a copy of our flyer that you could distribute to the member list so that they know how to contact us and have a reference point for their clients.
Be great. And then we can share that with everyone who's attended and our global business
Awesome.
members. Thank you.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you again. So we have a special guest in the house, because I call it a special guest, because you're from the Tampa Association. And that's kind of, thank you for coming down. So Marlena, would you come over, please? And so she can share, yes. So Marlena has a BS in International, and she's a graduate of the University of Tampa. She is a Beta Gamma Sigma and is on the Honor Society on that. She's an experienced bilingual global real estate professional, and she is the NAR Global Alliance Advisory Committee member for the Global Ambassador for Costa Rica and Panama. So if you just give us a little couple words. I know we're on a time crunch with you, and I know that, so I just wanted to bring you up first.
Thank you so much, Beth. I really appreciate the invitation, and it's so nice to see all of you, my fellow members of the Global Council here, because I'm also a member of your Global Council. So my name is Marlene Cambronero. I am originally from Costa Rica, so I am a tica. So pura vida. And that's why I proudly wear what I'm wearing today, even though I know we have Michael here, that he's almost the most proud almost Costa Rican that I've ever seen in my life. And I have seen him at the NAR booths several times. And he's just wonderful. Thank you so much to Rosie, too, for participating today. So great to see her again. I know her personally. She has been in Costa Rica, one of the real estate congress that we have put together over there at the association. in San Jose, always very active, amazing person. And Jose, thank you for the presentation. And I am so excited about this mortgage Second Street options now that we have available. So all great news, amazing information. All I want you to know is that Costa Rica is a wonderful country. I've been in Tampa for 38 years and in the real estate industry for about 23, 24, including starting off as a lender. So it's amazing how the opportunities are there for everyone. It's not just high-end or special locations or pockets of expats. In Costa Rica, we welcome everyone, everywhere, no matter the price. And that's truly how it is. I am, yes, of course, people want the amenities and the comfort and the lifestyle that you are so accustomed to have here of luxury and abundance of everything. But to be happy as we are in Costa Rica, you don't need any of that. You're actually getting away from all of that and trying to be at peace. And at peace you are just about anywhere in Costa Rica. I grew up 20 minutes from the Pacific in the central part of Pacific coast, close to the Pacific coast, 20 minutes. I could see in a clear day the Pacific Ocean from our little town. And it's absolutely beautiful with the background of beautiful mountains behind us, our house too. So both the ocean and the mountains, kind of sort of like Hawaii. But anyhow, what I want you to say is, as a global ambassador for our national association in 2023 and 2024 for Costa Rica and Panama, I had the great blessing opportunity to meet the wonderful people of the realtors associations in those countries. They are amazing. You have no idea how much they want to learn and how eager they are to work with all of us and understand how we do, how we practice, what are our standards, what are our processes, what are our systems. They're so thirsty for learning and sharing also how they do business there with you. So don't hesitate to reach out to the global current ambassador for Costa Rica is Steven Pagan. So reach out to him as people reach out to me. He will know how to connect you to the right realtor that is a member of NAR, member of the associations that know how to conduct business, hopefully somebody that is already a certified international property specialist with that designation of the CIPS, so that they know how to conduct business with anyone, not only from the United States, but even if your client or family member is coming from anywhere in the world, things will be handled properly. And the lawyers are the ones that handle the transactions. We don't really have title companies or title agents. The title agents are, the notaries are the lawyers, and they know how to handle everything. Costa Rica has an enormous database programming system that is handled by an agency from the government. It's el Registro Nacional. The National Registry has the history of every single property, absolutely everything in detail, technically speaking, that has to do with that property. And you can access it. You can register and get in there and look up the property and see with your own eyes the whole background, almost what a title search will do here in an agency for you before you even think about putting money on anything and moving forward on anything. You can verify it with your own eyes. So it's very transparent. It's right there for everyone. The whole world can see it. So I just wanted to add that because I don't think that was mentioned in any of the presentations. And I think it's important for you to know that we have resources in which you can do your due diligence and you connect with the right people. Don't go out there over there trying to sell property in Costa Rica. No, you're not supposed to do that. Do the referral, connect with the right agent. You work properly using the same referral, broker-to-broker referral form that we use here in the United States with the broker that you're going to be working over there, and you will get paid your referral. Now, there is also something else that I want you to be aware of. If there is a sales transaction that occurs, there's going to be a tax, a sales tax that is charge at the end of that transaction. So that will be also deducted from that commission. So make sure that you are aware of that and that you get that clear up front when you speak with your colleague or that partner that you're going to be working with in that country, because that is law, is mandatory, is law in Costa Rica. So I want you to be aware of that. I'm your resource. I'm in Tampa. I'm only an hour away, but I'm always here for you anytime, any questions, anything. I may not have the answer for you, but I'll definitely know who to reach out to give you the right answer. Thank you so much for your time, and it's so nice to see everyone. Thank you for giving me the opportunity.
Yeah, we greatly appreciate it. Thank you for coming down. So while we introduce our last speaker, we do have the pleasure. He actually flew in from Costa Rica, which we greatly appreciate. And it's Gustavo Ugala. Yes, I said it right.
Yes, you said it right. Yes.
So he brings extensive experience in real estate industry with specializing in expertise in both commercial and residential markets across the Costa Rica country. Complementing his real estate background, he has 25 years in leadership experience in banking sector throughout Latin America. Would you please come up?
Yes, of course.
Thank you, Gustavo.
Yeah, I think, yes, I can.
Get a clicker for your presentation.
No.
Okay, let me see if I can get the clicker for you.
Yeah. Good afternoon, everybody. The good thing about being the last one here is my previous colleagues and friends, Rosie, Joseph, and Zach, already did my job, which is convince you that Costa Rica is a great place to invest and to take customers to Costa Rica and buy properties. Okay, let's wait to the beginning of the presentation. And please applause for Zach, Rosie, and Joseph for the great job they did. So my name is Gustavo Galde again. I represent Paradiso Realty Group Costa Rica. We are a company with presence here in Sarasota, and we are an operating company in Costa Rica as well. So let's begin. In the very beginning of the presentation, you will hear the voice of Costa Rica with a very special message for you, for all of you. ¿Dónde está? Give me just a second. Give me just a second, just to. Yes, okay. Okay, no, you have to click, yes, this one, and you're going to. Yes, there you go.
Someone defines themselves when they reconnect with their spirit, their true essence.
Uh-oh. Well, I think Costa Rica doesn't want to speak anymore.
Someone defines themselves when they reconnect with their spirit, their true essence.
No, it's not working. Maybe we can go to the next one, yes. But let me repeat what the message said in the video. Yes, we have national parks, we have biodiversity in our country, we have a strong commitment with the environmental conservation. We are a privileged country. Why? Because we have volcanoes, tropical forests, beaches, in both the Pacific and the, not Atlantic, Caribbean coast, which is better. In addition, the people who wants to buy in Costa Rica has the same legal rights as the citizens of Costa Rica, which is very good, providing security for them. The environment of the country is very safe with high political stability, legal security, and sustained economic growth. We are a good country. Next, please.
Someone defines themselves when they reconnect with their spirit, their true essence.
Yeah.
I think they want us to focus on.
Yes. Well, let's continue saying that we are much more than nature. We are a perfect place to attract investments, and not only investment for retirement as well. We have a stable and growing economy, a strong democracy and legal certainty for foreign or overseas buyers, high quality of life with a strong focus on sustainability. Some figures. GDP growth for 2024 was 4.3%. In 2025 was 3.4%. Unemployment rate right now is 5.7% and decreasing with the best, this is the best index since 2010. The figures are improving in the country. We have negative inflation right now with poverty indicators declining across the country. The foreign direct investment in 2024 was 4.3 billion US dollars, which means people from outside trusting our country and investing in our country. This increases more than the 40% compared with previous year. And it's increasing right now. We don't have figures, the final figures for 2025, but definitely will be higher compared with this. In terms of real estate, definitely we have different areas and opportunities. For example, the metropolitan area, which is the center part of the country, we can find prices for different kind of properties between $1,200 or up to $2,000 US dollar per square meter. Jacubita, which is the central part of the Pacific area. Okay, perfect, thank you. We can find condominiums from prices starting at $150,000 US dollars. Definitely luxury homes and projects located in Guanacaste. Our colleagues already said that. And also, not only, well, the majority of them, of my colleagues are talking about the possibility of investing in housing. However, there is a possibility also to invest in industry activities. If someone wants to come to Costa Rica and invest in industry activities, they can do that. And we have in Cartago and Heredia good options like free trade zones and hubs with a strong growth potential. Right? Also, this is very important for everyone who wants to invest in the country, is the competitive investment returns. Vacation rental yields can go up to 10% in a yearly basis, and high demand on tourist and technology-driven areas. And sustained appreciation is shown in areas like Guanacaste, Central and Southern Pacific regions, and the metropolitan area. Well, we have also the possibility to offer long-term wealth buildings, passive incomes, and international diversification. As mentioned before, and I said, all my colleagues already did their job, the post-pandemic growth was important in the country, with rising interest in lots, different kind of properties, condominiums outside the Central Valley. They're increasing activity in real estate across the coastline of Costa Rica. Where are the buyers from? US, Canada, Europe, and as mentioned before, from all around the world. Many people coming to Costa Rica. Retired people and digital nomads, with a very high percentage of approval for those persons who present an application for a residency in Costa Rica, the approval is over 80%, which is very high. Also, high demand on Airbnb services. It is a interesting business, especially in the coastline and also in the metropolitan area. We already know Costa Rica is a great country to do tourism, and one figures around it. Over 3 million of persons walking around the country. Revenues are increasing every single year. In 2024, the incomes associated to the tourism activities was around $5.4 billion and increasing every single year. So people is coming to Costa Rica and they are spending much more money every year. High occupancy rates for vacational rentals. Also very important, and I want to mention this, the quality of life in Costa Rica is very good. For example, the Human Development Index is 0.833, which is considered very high compared with every developed country in the world. Life expectancy is 81 years. So if you want to live a long life, you have to go to live in Costa Rica. And for example, in Costa Rica, there is one of the 5 blue zones of the world. It's located at Nicoya. And there, the people lives around 100 years in average. It's amazing. And definitely, this is associated with a very high quality of life in the country. We have universal access to healthcare. It's one of the greatest added values of the country. And also, we have a strong educational system and social stability. Some benefits for the investors. Well, as mentioned before, the foreigners or people overseas investors can purchase properties under equal legal conditions compared with citizens of Costa Rica. You can apply for a residency with investment starting at $150,000. There are different tax incentives and also exceptions for tourism-related projects. Some of the strategic regions we can mention are the metropolitan area, Guanacaste, Central Pacific, and Southern Pacific. One of the good things about Paradisus Realty Group is that we are going to be with you during the property purchase process to all the different customers we handle. One of them is we do the title verification. We support during the contract signing. Also, we provide information related with payment of taxes and fees. And we guarantee to the buyers the official registration on the public register of the country. So in Costa Rica, we have people that support the process and guarantee to the buyers that we are doing the things very well. Another important information, taxes and fiscal benefits. The main taxes you can face in a transaction of real estate transaction in Costa Rica are the transfer tax, legal stamps and notary fees, property tax, and capital gain tax, which is when you sell the property you have, and it's a second home, applies this percentage. Additional tax benefits for investors. For example, there are free trade zones in which different activities can be done, providing tax exemptions for qualifying companies. And it is a huge industry in Costa Rica under this scheme. Tourism incentives, import tax exemptions on materials and equipment. And also you can apply for a residency when you have an investment or you do an investment for at least $150,000. So, just to guarantee that the people is working in peace and feel trusting in our country, we have a local team based in Costa Rica, people with expertise in real estate and relocation. We already do relocation in Costa Rica with for different sectors. We do comprehensive support on different kind of topics like legal, accounting, and educational and operational for the people who is coming to Costa Rica, with full transparency, high ethical standards, which is very important in transactions like this, and also, well, the commission for all the realtors that business partner from our company. We can do the payments to U.S. bank accounts and a commissions scheme according with different projects. Some of them could be higher. It will depend on the characteristics of the project. And then here with me are part of the team. So Monica, say hi. Monica is based here in Sarasota. And also Adriana Murot. Adri, say hi to everyone.
And also, I just want to let you know, when you bring your customer, we handle the process.
Yes.
You don't have to worry about anything. Basically, you are the connect for us. We handle everything in Costa Rica with our wonderful.
Thank you, Adri. She is the right one to get in touch today. Okay. Well, we already know that we have in Costa Rica different financing options driven by public or private banks, credit unions, or international financial institutions. The financing could be in local currency, colones, or US dollars. In Costa Rica, it is very important to mention that you can handle both currencies, and people, it is very normal if you go to a commercial, to a supermarket, and you can pay in US dollars, for example, and also in colones. Tenors up to 30 years, interest rates are variable in colones or fixed or variable in US dollars. The requirements mainly the credit history, proof of incomes, and the property appraisal, the standard process. Talking about places to invest, I want to mention, for example, the Escazú area, Santana area. Those are located in the central part of the country, the Central Valley. Also going to the coast, there is the Atenas. There are a lot of people from the US living in Atenas. Also, La Sabana, Romoser Towers, there is a very strong development on real estate on Sabana, Romoser, and Nunciatura area, and many people doing Airbnb on these buildings. Punta Arenas, you can find luxury condominiums and world-class marina. New marinas are being opened. Santa Teresa, Nosara, which is part of the Guanacaste area. Also, you have great boutique resorts, boutique hotels located there. Corporate centers in Escazú, Santana, with high-tech offices and developments. And also high-end hospitality. Already mentioned Four Seasons and Waldorf Astoria. So you are hearing that we have, or we are handling this more or less the same information. And this is my presentation for today. You have any questions?
I do have a question for you. So you said you have your team here. So I'm just going to use, if she's my client and I bring her to your office, we can actually let them see, so they would be almost like real time between your office there and your office here.
And that's the reason why Adriana is here. She will be the contact point here in Sarasota.
Okay.
And when she immediately do a first, how can I say that, filter? The first filter, immediately she send to us, the customer, and we can start to find the perfect place for the customer in Costa Rica.
Okay, thank you. Dave?
Where are we going? Also, I need a big help from you. Just my last request. You have a flyer in front of you, and there is a QR code on the back. Can you be so kind with us and scan it and put the information in the... Yes. And our contacts as well.
And free round trip tickets to Costa Rica. A drawing.
Do you, of course, I'm not aware of the breakdown, but do you service all of Costa Rica?
Yes, we have the possibility to support customers and try to find the property throughout the country, all over the country.
Because I am interested at some point in time going to the Pacific side, the Caribbean side, a place called Cahuita. So I've been there and I love it. And I just want to know if you guys.
Yes, we can do that for you.
Okay, thank you.
I have a 42-room hotel in the Arenal area, and I'm thinking of in the future, maybe a year or 2 years, selling it. Do you handle sales?
Yes, yes, we can.
And how are sales going?
Well, in the Arenal area is a very, very active area right now, buying and selling. Many people from outside looking at properties in the Arenal area. So and also, if you want, because this is an hotel you have, so if you want to sell it, we can also try to find in the market, local or here, a buyer for the properties as well.
Okay, thank you.
And I went into one of your little rivers that came off of Arenal, and I remember it was hot. It was really nice.
Yeah.
We had like mud we put on our faces.
Yes, the hardships are great.
That was a great time. And what was really funny was that the guide that we had, he stopped on the side of the road and he went out and got one of those little frogs, the really beautiful little rainbow frogs. I don't know, pretty cool. That's actually, anyway.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you so much. My goodness, and thank you for
My pleasure. It's my pleasure to be here.
Oh, it was wonderful.
You're going to stick around and
Yes, yes, of course, of course.
So before we end our speaker session, I want to say thank you. Thank you again for coming. Thank you to all our speakers. We greatly appreciate all of you. Do you guys have any questions for us? No? Okay. So we are so fortunate that in our next event is going to be a lunch and learn. Oh, lunch and learn, sorry. Lunch and learn. And it's going to be on travel in trade missions. So we're honored to have Maria Gulich, who's going to come in and talk to us about this and how the process works with the trade missions and how to travel abroad. And it's open to all GBC members. There's no fee. And Denise will feed you. I mean, it doesn't get better than that. She will feed you. So you're getting lunch. So the date is going to be February 26th from 11:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. and it's in the RASM North. So it's in RASM North off of Manatee Avenue. So did you have anything? Yes, we'll see you there. How many of you have signed up? How many are you going to sign up? Yes. Yes. So, and I hope you'll be able to join us. So, and then they are so kind. They brought, this actually comes from Costa Rica. So I'm taking mine and clothes right now because I'm going to take our coffee. I'm going to take our coffee now. So, yes. So, yes. So,
Thank you to everybody.
Okay. So thank you to everybody. Thank you to our sponsors, Tracy from Colonial Mortgage, Eva from Money Corp, and Nina from Perpta Solutions. Another one of our sponsors who's not here is Stellar MLS, but you'll be meeting them soon. Please mingle with them while you're eating your wine and cheese. So yes, there is wine and cheese. So the guest, but yes, please network, stay and be on the lookout for your emails because I'll be sending the contact information for our wonderful speakers. Thank you very much for being here and for being with us today. I appreciate it. Oh, gotta sit with this way.